What's up, my fashionistas? You're welcome to Yvonne Winifred UG. In today's episode, we are making this t-shirt dress that Miss Trudy wore recently in the Gambia. Miss Trudy is a YouTuber. She's a Kenyan travel content creator, and this is how the dress looks like. So don't forget to follow her on her YouTube and her Instagram at Miss Trudy, and also subscribe to my channel, Yvonne Winifred UG. And let's start the video. So I have this mix and match Ankara or the Kitenge that I'm going to be using. One piece is plain and the other is printed, and it is enough for what we want. So starting off, I have this printed one that I'm going to use to cut out a template or a pattern that I'll be using to cut all the other pieces. So I've marked the joining allowance at the shoulder there, and I will be starting from this center front. Remember, we'll be adding another side piece of this dress, so you have to put that allowance in consideration. So I'm working with the shoulder measurement of 7.5 inches, but I'm adding 1 inch. That 1 inch is for the joining allowance at the center, and even at for the sleeve on the side. So I mark 8.5. So from there, I get my armhole measurement, dividing it by 2. I go down by 8.5 inches, and I just connect a straight line as you see there. So whatever I have at the shoulder here, 8.5, I'm going to also mark it at this new line that I've marked. You can call it a chest line. Then mark a straight line that is going to aid me as I carve out the armhole. So from the top, from the shoulder, I've slanted it by 1 inch, and whatever is remaining, I get its midpoint, and from that midpoint I move in by 0.5 inch and then carve out the front armhole like that. And then again from that midpoint I carve out the back armhole like that. So I come back at the shoulder line here and I carve out 3.5 inches in width and 4.5 inches in depth, and this is for the front neckline. So we won't be adding any zips or any buttons, so you have to make this large enough for your head to pass through. So then I slant out the shoulder since it's never straight, and then add 0.5 inch like that for the joining allowance. Then I divide the bust measurement by 4 and add 3 inches for ease and seam allowances. That is because it is a free dress, no zipper, so we have to have some good ease allowance. So I mark 16 inches for the waistline and then 25 inches for the hip line, as you see. And then I get the waist measurement, again dividing it by 4. Whatever I get, I add 3 inches, that is 1 inch seam allowance, and 2 inches as ease allowance. So that's what I do at the waistline and at the hip line. So when it comes to this dress, you can consider any length that you want. If you want it shorter, you can get a length that is up to above your knees. If you want it longer, you can go below your knees. So guys, after there, I mark out the length that I want to use. And whatever measurement that I have at the hip line, I also mark it at the hemline. And then from there, I just connect all the points. Remember, this is going to be a template for the back and the front piece. But what I did in this video is, when you look at Miss Trudy's dress, one part that is both front and back is the plain material, and the other part is the printed one. But in this case, I didn't consider that. I just cut through, and I ended up with pieces that are just, you know, again mixing and matching like they were not connecting, like they were different. So that is the change that I have here. So before I go on and cut the other pieces, I mark a depth of 2.5 inches for the back and connect it at the neckline there. So I first cut out the back markings, that is at the armhole and at the neckline. So this is what I have. And all along I was marking on the wrong side, but I realized I would have marked maybe onto the right side, or if not, I would have cut a pattern already before cutting all these pieces. But let's roll with this. So now I've marked another plain like I've have I marked? No, I've pinned down this template that we are using, the pattern, this piece that we've cut out on a plain material, and now I'm cutting out. So I want this to be the back, because remember, so far we have the back markings only. So this is what I do, and cut it out and get this. So they will just be joined at the midpoint, like at the center there, by 1/2 inch later when we get at the sewing machine. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this new one that I've cut to cut its back piece, the other side of the back piece, in a different, you know, this printed material or fabric. So this is what I do. So now these two are going to be my back pieces. These two are now officially the back pieces. I can now pin them together and I'll be joining them at the center. So now I'm just going to use the other one, the first one that we cut, our so-called template, to cut the other plain front piece that we need. So as you see, I've pinned it down and then I start cutting again. So it's not all that difficult, but before cutting, consider what you want your pieces to look like. So now I think you've seen I've cut out the front marking, and now even at the armhole, the front marking. So now these ones are also officially the front markings. We are moving on. So this is what I have so far. And also guys, when it comes to the hemline here, if you want, you can carve out the edge, that edge you can carve out in any shape that you want. So from there I just go on and mark the cups height of my sleeve. This is folded into 2 pieces. I have a basic sleeve tutorial. If you want it, it is available here on my channel. So I mark the armhole round, and then I connect this diagonal line, get its midpoint, mark it from that midpoint. Oh god, I'm going so fast. Anyway, this midpoint, the midpoint of the diagonal line, I get its the diagonal line, I get its midpoint. I move up by 1 inch, and then straight away draw a line that is the back armhole, and then inside there I go up by 1/2 inch and down by 1/2 inch down that midpoint line, and that is the front armhole marking. Then I get the sleeve opening that I'll be using plus the allowances, and then that is the sleeve. So I'll be needing 2 sleeves. So first I cut out the back marking of the sleeve like that, and then open it up and cut out the other front sleeve. So you have to make sure they are marked together. So the deeper one is the front and this upper one is the back. So I'm using this to cut the second one, and this is what we have. And I'll be adding some other printed material for some design. So this is what I'll do. On the wrong side of the sleeve, I have this printed fabric that I'll be joining there. So it is 1.25 inches on fold. I'll be showing you how I'll be doing it. it will be flipped onto the right side of the sleeve. So for the patch pocket, I have this it's about 11 inches by about, I think, 13 inches thereabout, that I'll be folding the sides, double folding the sides by half an inch, and then for the upper part here it will be like double folding by 1 inch, and then down by like 1/2 inch, and it will be added onto the front. So guys, after sewing the pieces together, I cut out some facings. The facing is 3.5 inches deep, and that is for the front and the back. I just duplicated the neckline. So I open up this seam allowance, the center front seam allowance, center back seam allowance, then add my facings, right sides facing each other, and then I'll join it onto the main piece of the dress. And after that is for the front and back. After, I'll join the sides, and for the sleeve, after joining the sides, I'll be attaching the sleeve. But before, for the sleeve, as I told you, this 1.25 piece of fabric that I have on fold, I joined it onto the right side, onto the wrong side of the sleeve, and then took it onto the right side of the sleeve like this, and I'll be running a straight line to, you know, put it down like there, and then tuck it in the middle here. I'll just run a simple stitch, tuck it down, and then join the sleeve onto the main dress to have this. So guys, after the facings joined onto the main dress there, I had to top stitch, to run a top stitch onto the facing so that they are laid down properly there. So I also added my sleeves. As you see, this is how they look like, and as I told you guys, I joined them and I tucked down this piece. As you see, so beautiful, I'm loving it. And this is the patch pocket. So I measured about 17 inches from the top, and that is where the patch pocket started from. So now what I have remaining is to take this dress, right sides facing each other, join the sides right from the sleeve going down, then hem this downer part, and the dress will be like this, already done like this. Beautiful guys, beautiful, I'm loving it. That is the hem. So as I told you, these parts are different, not like Miss Trudy's dress, but we can roll with this. This is so beautiful. Also, that is the neckline. This is what I told you are the sleeves. I love this design. This is a t-shirt dress. So guys, that is it. This is the back, and thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. I'll be seeing you soon. Just make this dress for yourself.